The year is 2015. Construction crews are preparing to open one of the most anticipated transit projects in modern American history. Beneath the streets of Manhattan, engineers, politicians, contractors, consultants, lawyers, inspectors, and regulators have spent years building a single new subway station. The station is beautiful. It is technologically advanced. It is safe. And it cost nearly $4 billion. Not for an entire subway line, not for a citywide network, for one station. Across the Atlantic, cities like Paris, Madrid, Copenhagen, and Milan are constructing entire subway extensions for similar amounts of money. Some are building dozens of stations for what New York spends on one. The numbers seem impossible. Transportation experts stare at spreadsheets and wonder whether a decimal point has been misplaced. Journalists investigate. Economists compare budgets. Engineers exchange notes across continents. Yet the figures are real. A subway station that should cost hundreds of millions costs billions. A tunnel that should take years takes decades. Projects designed to solve congestion become monuments to delay. The question appears simple. Why is America so bad at building transit? But that question leads somewhere deeper. Because this is not primarily a story about engineering. American engineers are among the best in the world. It is not primarily a story about corruption. Most participants follow the rules exactly as written. And it is not primarily a story about technology. The technology involved is often decades old. Instead, this is a story about something largely invisible. A battle between overlapping governments, competing agencies, and fragmented authorities. A battle economists increasingly describe as jurisdictional warfare. And according to some estimates, this hidden war can triple costs. This is the story of how dozens of institutions, each pursuing rational goals, accidentally create one of the most expensive infrastructure systems on Earth. To understand the crisis, we need to start with a promise. The promise is simple. Modern cities depend on movement. Every thriving urban economy operates like a living organism. People are the blood cells. Transportation networks are the arteries. When movement slows, growth slows. When transportation becomes unreliable, productivity collapses. The Industrial Revolution concentrates workers in cities. Factories attract labor. Population density generates economic output. But density creates a new problem: congestion. The more successful a city becomes, the harder it becomes to move through it. The solution emerges in the 19th century. Rail transit, first above ground, then underground. Subways fundamentally change urban economics. Housing expands beyond walking distance. Entire neighborhoods emerge around stations. The subway becomes a powerful economic machine. For much of the 20th century, America excels at building them. New York constructs hundreds of miles of track. Chicago expands rapidly. The transformation is subtle. To understand why, imagine building a house. One owner hires one architect. One contractor builds it. Now imagine 20 separate organizations must approve every decision. Each possesses veto power. Each answers to different stakeholders. That is jurisdictional warfare. A jurisdiction is simply an area of authority. When multiple jurisdictions overlap, conflicts emerge. One agency controls transportation. Another controls environmental review. A third controls utilities. A fourth controls historical preservation. Each institution exists for legitimate reasons. Systems designed to improve accountability can eventually destroy accountability. Imagine a whiteboard. Start with a blank page. At the center, draw a subway station. Now draw circles around it. Connect all of them. Every connection represents approvals, negotiations, reviews, permits, and legal obligations. The station itself remains unchanged, but the organizational machinery surrounding it expands dramatically. Instead of paying for concrete and steel, projects pay for coordination. And coordination is expensive when incentives are misaligned. Consider a utility line. In many countries, one authority coordinates relocation. In the US, responsibility is divided. Every delay generates additional costs, not because workers are actively building, but because workers are waiting to build. Countries with comparable wages build for a fraction of American costs. Spain, Italy, France, South Korea. American projects involve fragmented authority structures. Decision-making is dispersed. Risk is dispersed. Imagine 10 people carrying a table. If each person fears being blamed for dropping it, they demand instructions and second-guess movements. Eventually, the effort required to coordinate exceeds the effort required to carry the table. That is jurisdictional warfare. Nowhere is this more visible than New York City's 2nd Avenue subway. For decades, planners discuss it. Generations pass. Extensive utility relocation, complex procurement, risk management, political negotiations, each factor adds a little. Together, they add a lot. The greatest expense is not money, it is time. Every year of delay compounds every other cost. In many cases, delay becomes a strategic tool, a weapon. One jurisdiction can slow another to extract concessions. America's infrastructure problem is not a shortage of money. It is a shortage of institutional efficiency. The country has mastered the art of governing construction, but it has forgotten how to construct. The bill arrives. The bill arrives in different forms. Sometimes it appears as a transit line that never gets built. Sometimes it appears as a bridge. Sometimes it appears as a tunnel whose final price bears little resemblance to the original estimate. And sometimes it appears as a simple comparison. A city in Spain builds several subway stations for the cost of one American station. Italy extends a metro line for a fraction of that cost. Other developed countries face environmental concerns, labor unions, and safety regulations, yet many consistently build more for less. The catalyst for attention is infrastructure. Political leaders agree America needs investment. Roads, transit, airports, and water systems require modernization. But can the system efficiently convert money into infrastructure? Researchers find something that resembles a machine consuming itself. Imagine a whiteboard. At the top, write $100 million for a transit project. Follow the money. Portions fund engineering, labor, materials, and equipment. But then additional layers appear: environmental compliance, consultant reviews, and legal review. The list continues growing: interagency coordination, risk management, and litigation contingencies. None are inherently wasteful, but the problem is the cumulative effect. Every additional layer introduces direct costs and opportunities for delay, and delay acts like compound interest. Instead of growing wealth, it grows expenses. Suppose a project lasts 5 years. If lawsuits and reviews extend it to 10, everything becomes more expensive. Materials, labor, and management costs explode. Delay causes expense. Expense causes scrutiny. Scrutiny causes additional procedures. Additional procedures create further delay. The cycle accelerates. Many participants are responding rationally to incentives. A public official fears safety failures or scandals. The safest strategy is to demand more reviews. Contractors include contingencies for uncertainty. Consultants generate more reports to address complexity. Every participant acts logically, yet the outcome remains dysfunctional. Successful international systems often share clear lines of authority. When decisions must be made, someone possesses the power to make them. Coordination is streamlined. Infrastructure is an organizational problem. The concrete is visible, but the governance structure is not. Invisible systems often determine these visible outcomes. This framework applies to housing, energy, and finance. Systems become interconnected, responsibilities fragmented, and coordination costs rise faster than visibility. The key challenge is conversion. Can financial capital be converted into physical assets efficiently? This question may define economic competitiveness in this century. The station is a map of institutions. Every delay is an interaction. Every cost increase is a negotiation. It is built from rules. The station is expensive because governance became expensive. If costs originate from institutional design, reforms like streamlined approvals and clearer accountability become possible. The most expensive component of many modern projects is friction. Institutional friction, jurisdictional friction, coordination friction, the hidden costs of moving together. Understanding this system is about recognizing the architecture of modern institutions. Every subway station tells two stories, one of steel and one of jurisdictions.